Okay. Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We will be going over construction accounting best practices using RedTeam Go. My name is Eileen. I am a senior implementation specialist here, and we will be getting started. As I mentioned previously, if anyone has any questions during the webinar, please feel free to use the chat or Q&A buttons you do have in Zoom. Okay, so we are going to get started. All right. So in our webinar today, we are going to cover a few topics. We will go over owner billing. So I'm going to go over how you can approve an owner bill as the accountant entered by the project manager. We will also go over how you can enter an owner bill if needed. Okay. We'll then go over how to view, approve, and also enter any subcontractor billing, how to view and approve our expenses, and then we'll also go over some of our company-wide accounting reports and our project-specific accounting reports. Again, if anyone has any questions, please feel free to use that chat button at the bottom or the Q&A. Righty. So first, we're just going to go over owner billing. So we will navigate into a project. Right, so I've selected from my recent projects, and then from here, my owner billing will live here. So there are a few places that we can go. So navigating directly into the project, we'll be able to view any of our past bills that were entered. Okay. We're also able to create any new bills. Now, to view and approve any bills that have already been entered into RedTeam Go by our project managers, as the accountants, we are going to navigate over to the accounting menu over here. Okay. The first area that it's going to bring you to is right here in billing, and it will bring you to the drop down to approve sub-billing. So we will go over this. We'll go over how we can approve billing entered by our subcontractors, but for now, we're going to go over owner billing. So the owner bills are going to be under here, listed under notary and approval. Now we can see here, here's a list of the bills that are waiting for us as the accountant to view, approve, and notarize. Okay, they are by project. Okay. So I'll select the project, I'll select the bill. So we will click right into here where it says view and notarize. Now this brings me directly into the owner pay app that my project manager has entered. You can see right here, this is my project manager's signature. This is just a pop-up letting us know that some sub-bills were removed, and it's allowing us to add them back. So back to this. So this is a owner pay app that my project manager has entered. Me being the accountant, I am the gatekeeper. My project manager entered it, they signed it, but I'm going to view this. I can approve it. Once I approve it, that's going to allow me to then push it over and email it to my client for their payment. If I have a QuickBooks Online or desktop integration, this step, also approving this bill as an accountant, is what will create this bill for me in QuickBooks. Okay. Now, if while I'm viewing this, if I see any errors in here, I can unsign it. I can remove the signature of the project manager, and I can make the changes myself. Okay, I can also click respond. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong button. Responding here was going to email it to my owner, but I can edit it, unsign it if I need to. Now to approve it, I'm just going to select approve. Okay, and then that's going to allow me to notify my owner, and it's letting the owner know that I have now approved this pay app, and it will send the pay app on over to the owner for their viewing and their approval. So once we're ready, we'll select I agree. Okay, and now my client for this project has received an email letting them know that an owner pay app is ready for their viewing and approval in their RedTeam Go portal. Okay. And I can actually show you what that's going to look like, what the email will look like, and how the owner will actually approve it. Okay. So I will open that up for you right now. So right here, this is the owner's portal. Okay, this is how your owner will be able to view the pay app that I've sent him. So he can come right over here and he'll see it has my signature. This is the latest one that I've sent. All the owner needs to do is click view and sign. That's going to bring him right here. Again, it shows my signature. Here's my pay app to the owner. And then all my owner would need to do is select actions and they can approve. Okay. They can also select print lien release. And with our digital signature with RedTeam Go, it provides them with my lien release and my signature. So all my owner will do is select approve. I agree. And now that owner pay app has been approved. Okay. So when I do receive payment from the owner on this pay app, if I'm using a QuickBooks integration, I will mark it as paid in QuickBooks, but I will also need to come right back into RedTeam, navigate to the billing menu for that particular project, go over to owner A or owner B. We'll locate that bill. Here it is. And then I'm just going to select where it says paid. I'll change that no to a yes. Okay, so we're going to click right into there. We'll put in the date that I received payment, the amount that my owner paid. So give me 1 second. Let me just expand my screen because you want to make sure that you're entering the same amount that you billed them for. Now, let's say there's a clerical error and the owner did pay you less than your bill amount. You will need to unlock this owner's pay app and redo it for the proper amount. And again, if anyone has any questions, like I've mentioned, please feel free to raise your hand, or you can also use the Q&A button at the bottom. So when I'm ready, I'm going to select no to change this as yes, that it's been paid, enter my date, enter the payment amount, and the check number. There we go. And now we've selected save. Okay. So now this bill has been marked as paid, and all of this information is updating on a very important job cost statement, which you can navigate to over here. We'll select commitments, come over to job cost statement. You will have your job cost statement here showing us our build to date and so on. And we'll come back to this job cost statement as well, because as we're entering invoices from our subcontractors, this job cost statement is updating as well. Alrighty, so does anyone have any questions on owner billing? The next step that I'm going to show you, I've shown you how you can approve owner billing, but let's show you how you can create an owner pay app. Okay. So we're going to go to our project and we're going to create an owner pay app from scratch. So once I navigate to my project, I'll come over to billing. I only have one owner, so I'll go to owner A. And to create our very first pay app, we do need to select our application and create our SOV. Now, if you do have an AIA subscription, you will have the AIA option. Same thing if you have a consensus doc, you will have your options here. If you don't have a subscription, you won't have those. All you're going to have are the generic cost of work without guaranteed maximum price. You'll also have cost plus owner billing, and you'll have your generic owner bill. So once you select which application you'd like to use, we're then going to create our schedule of values. Now you do have a few options. You can create your schedule of values by division. You can select schedule of values by division with a separate profit line. So that means it's going to build it out by division, general conditions, site work, concrete, and so on, and have a separate profit line at the bottom. Or if you select it without the separate profit line, profit will be broken out amongst all of the divisions. So you do have that option. You also have the option to create your SOV by individual cost codes used. And then again, you have the same option to do it with a separate profit line or without. And then you also have the option with by cost codes to select an itemized markup. Itemized markups is going to show all of the markups. This includes your labor burden, your sales tax, overhead and profit, and so on. But then you also have the ability to do custom by cost item and custom unrestricted. So if you have an owner who has a very specific way of creating their schedule of values and it doesn't fit within the realm of either by division or by cost code, you do have the ability to come right over here and select custom unrestricted. And I'm going to select that just to show you the option that RedTeam gives you. So if I select custom unrestricted and then I select create, RedTeam's going to give me my contract value, and then I'll be able to go in here. So if my owner wants me to show how much material will cost, we'll put in material, then the amount, add another line item. And just to show you, as we're doing that, this balance to distribute is it's changing, being deducted by the amounts that I'm putting in here. Okay. There you go. So I can see I have, okay. If I wanted to create a custom SOV based on however my owner has submitted it to me, I can do that, right? So once I've done that, I'll lock my SOV. And now my SOV is exactly how I've created it. I just have those 3 line items to bill against. Okay, so we're going to unlock this one and we'll create a different one with divisions now. I do want to show you that you always have that option to create a custom one. Okay, so to delete that, because I have not created a bill yet, I can select the ellipses icon and select delete. Okay, and then we're going to unlock my SOV so we can create a new one. Okay. And then we'll select change SOV template, and this is just us working our way backwards. Okay. We'll select generic owner bill, create SOV, and I'm going to go by division and create. Now, even though I've selected by division, this does give me a little bit of customization, meaning you can see everything is by division. But if I want to break it down, let's say I want to show general conditions and one flat amount. However, I want to show what goes into site work. I can open that up. Okay, so right now my SOV is going to show one line item for general conditions, one line item for steel, carpentry, and so on. However, site work will be broken out. Okay, just so you know, you do have the option to do that. Even though I selected by division and not by cost code, I can still choose to show the individual cost items. Okay, so I'm just going to break these out and then we'll move forward. Okay, so once we're done here, we'll select lock. Okay, so to create our very first owner pay app, let's start with everything up top. Okay, we're going to put in our application date, our start and end date for what we're billing. There we go. This is pulling over already based on our contracts with this client, what our work retainage and material retainage is. Okay. Payment by purchase order. This is just an option you're going to fill out if you receive payment against this contract from someone other than the owner. Okay. An example would be, let's say this is a church renovation that we're doing, and the congregation has decided that they wanted to donate some money. We would put their donation amount here so that it deducts it as a payment against the contract value, but it doesn't actually bill the owner. Let me know if you have any questions on that. Right. Here, I want you to make sure if we're going to email our owner our pay app, we're going to select distribute to the owner. If for any reason, if this is an owner that you're working with that is not going to accept owner pay apps outside of RedTeam Go, then you can uncheck this, and then this way RedTeam won't email them. But if we are going to email this to our owner, we're going to select distribute to owner. If we want to copy our architect on this, and as long as we've entered our architect in the project team, we can select architect here as well. Okay. And then you have the option for contractor and construction manager. Now we'll go through and we'll create our billing. So to show you general conditions, we have our sum, but then site work and so on. Just want to show you how these are broken out with the cost codes, even though I selected by division. Right? You have your work in progress here, so we can put in a flat amount if we're billing flat amount. Okay. This is your stored material. So if we are billing for stored material, you can put in a value here. Okay. And then right over here, this is where if you don't want to do in, or I'm sorry, if you don't want to enter a flat fee, but you want to instead just enter a percentage complete, you can enter that here. Okay, but these two columns speak to each other. Right. So if I'm just going to bill a 10% deposit, I'm going to go down the line and enter 10% against all my cost codes. Okay. Now, right now, I don't have any billing, but just we will go through and create a subcontractor's billing. But as you're doing that, when a subcontractor enters their invoice, or if you've entered their invoice and it's been accepted and approved, that information is going to automatically generate on your contract, on your owner pay apps, so that you'll have that reminder to bill your owners for that. So when we go through, we'll create a subcontractor invoice, and then I'll show you how that reflects on your owner pay app. Now, once I've gone through and I've entered my 10% all the way down the line, I'm going to come over here. I have actions. I'm going to sign this. If you want to see what this looks like before we sign it, we'll select print and then generic owner bill, or you can select it also with your lien release. So this is my pay app to my owner. Here's my lien release at the bottom. I have not signed it yet, but once I sign this pay app, it will sign it at the bottom for me. Okay. So we'll select actions, select sign. Now, if you do have any attachments that you want to include with this owner pay app, you do have the ability to add attachments right here. If I have a change order that I need to add to this pay app as well, I do have the ability right here to select add change order. RedTeam shows me all of my change orders that have not been added yet. So I can select them and add them directly to my pay app. You can see here's one of my change orders. Same thing, so if I want to bill 10%, I can. But to sign this, we'll just select actions and sign. I agree. Okay, and now this is going to email the accountant. Now I am entering this as the accountant, so that's fine. I can just select close if I want to, and I don't need to bother sending that to myself. I can just, while I'm here, select approve. Here we go. And approving it is what's going to put in my digital signature, and it's going to email this over to my owner. Okay. So now we've gone through how you can approve an owner pay app entered by your project manager, but we've also gone over how you can enter a pay app yourself and send that out to the owner. Okay. So does anyone have any questions? If not, we will move on over to subcontractor billing. Okay. All right, so let's move on over to subcontractor billing. Now you will need to have a signed subcontract agreement on file with that sub. If you don't have a signed subcontract agreement on file, RedTeam's not going to allow you to create an invoice against that subcontract agreement. So we're going to navigate back to our accounting menu up top, and then it brings us right over to approve sub billing. So here it's going to show me bills that my subcontractors have entered. So to view that, we can see right here, I have bill. Let me just make my screen a little bit bigger for everyone. Okay, here's a pay app submitted to me by my sub. Okay, we can see the status is pending because it has not been approved. Right over here, if I select my ellipses icon, I can delete this if I need to, if it was a clerical error, or I can also view any attachments that were uploaded. But to view this bill, we're going to click right into it because remember, anything in RedTeam Go that is blue is a hyperlink. That means we can click into it. So we'll click right into that subcontractor's invoice. And here we go. Okay, so we can see that they've billed me right? And if we scroll on down, we can also see that they've already digitally signed their lien release. Now, if by viewing this, if I have any issues with this, if I need them to change something on the billing, I can come right over here and request edit. That's just going to prompt me to then email my subcontractor and give them a chance to make the edits. They'll resubmit it. I'll receive an email, and then I'll come back in here again, and I'm going to approve it. Okay. But if I approve this, I'm going to select approve and accept bills. We're going to select the date that I want to push this over. So by default, it's going to have the date that the subcontractor entered when they created their pay app. So if I want this to go into my QuickBooks integration with this date, I'll leave it. If not, I do have the ability to select this, and I can say, well, push this over to QuickBooks with today as the transaction date. I'll select yes, and now this has been created for me in QuickBooks. So that's how we approve subcontractor billing. Okay. Now, if I need to enter the bill for my subcontractor, I can do that as well. We'll come right over here to add new sub bill. Okay, so we'll select add new sub bill. Right over here, we're going to enter our project. We'll select the company. So you can see I only have one subcontractor that's showing up, and that's because I only have that one subcontract agreement on file. So if you as the accountant, if you're trying to enter a sub bill and you're noticing that the subcontractor is not showing up, reach out to the project manager and just make sure that they've imported that signed subcontract or that they've had the subcontractor digitally sign it. I'm going to select my subcontractor, and then I'll put in that invoice number that they've given me. Once I'm ready, I'll select create new sub bill. Okay. Right over here, we're just going to go through. We'll put in their period start date. Make sure that you're putting in the information that they've given you. The period end date right here. It's automatically pulling over the retainage based on our subcontract agreement. Okay. And then we'll go through and we'll put in our percentage. So I'm just going to say this is a 10% deposit. I do have the ability to attach any documents. So if they've sent me a copy of the bill, I can select that right here and I can upload a copy. And right here, I can say it's a copy of the bill. Okay. Now, if they've also submitted a lien document outside of RedTeam Go, I have the ability to upload that here. But with RedTeam, because we're entering the subcontract agreement, or I'm sorry, this invoice, it will generate a lien release for them that you can then send to them. But once you're ready, we're going to select submit bill. Okay. And now that bill has been created. Okay. Now, if we want to view those bills, we are able to go in and view our sub-billing list. Okay, there you go. So we just select sub-billing list. By default, it's filtering only the bills that need my approval. So if I select filter, I can come over here, change my filter. I can go by all project managers. I can also just choose to look by project here. Okay, here's that pay app. Okay, so if I click right into here, here's my pay app, and now I have the lien release that I can download and email out to my subcontractor to have them sign for me. Okay. Once they've signed that lien release, we'll come back over here. We're going to select the, We're going to select the ellipses icon, go to attachments here, and then we will upload the digitally signed release that they've given us. And right here, we're going to say that it's a copy of the lien document submitted outside of RedTeam Go. We're going to save that, and we're going to say that we approve it. Okay, and now we can see that check mark has been entered, and now I know just by viewing this, I have a signed and uploaded lien release for this subcontractor. Any questions? Okay, awesome. Another area that I want to show you right here, again, we're still in accounting, billing, and approved sub-billing. You have this little menu where it says sub pay schedule, okay? If I click that, I get a drop down of some things that are waiting on my approval. So if I come over here, you can check everything subcontractor, John and Boys, and I can see that this isn't an invoice that's waiting for my approval, but this is a schedule of values that I've requested from my subcontractor. They've entered it, and now it's just waiting on my approval. Okay. So I'm going to select approve, and you will, as the accountant, receive emails when they do things like this. Just wanted to show you, if you happen to lose the email or you can't find it, you can always navigate to those items that are waiting on your approval just by selecting the sub pay schedule. And that's going to show you things that are waiting for you to approve. Okay. So if I want to request an edit of this SOV, let's say I want a breakdown of the site remediation work. I want them to show me material, labor, and so on. I can come over here, select request edit, and send my subcontractor an email letting them know, please submit a breakdown. Okay, so that was subcontractor invoicing. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, all right, so let's go over now to expenses. Okay, so I'll show you how you can view expenses that were submitted to you by your employees and how you can also enter expenses. So to do that, again, we'll navigate to our accounting menu. This is where we're living today. And then we will navigate on over to expenses. Okay. Now in our expenses menu, we have a few areas that we'll go over. Right here, this cog, the settings icon, is where we're going to be able to manage our payment methods. Payment methods being the options that our employees are going to be able to select when they're creating an expense. So if your guys are using cash and you've noticed that they don't have the ability to select cash or reimbursement, you would come over here and select manage payment methods and add that, give them that option here. So you can see I do have a reimbursement, I have a vendor credit, a Visa, and so on. So to view my expenses, we can see here are all the expenses that are currently waiting on my approval. Okay, so I can navigate on over, right? And we can actually, this is created as an invoice. So I'll show you how to do invoices as well. Okay. The expenses will be here. You can create an expense for your employee by selecting add expense. We'll put in the project name, enter the date of the expense. Where did they purchase this from? So let's say it was Home Depot. We'll select the payment method if they use their company Visa. Then here's where we'll put in the amount. Say they spent $50, and then I'm going to enter who created this. Okay, then down here, we're going to select, well, what does this go against? This is only going to give me cost codes that are currently in this project budget. So if there is a cost code that's missing, or there's a particular material cost code that you need, you'll have to reach out to the project manager, and then they can add that cost code to the project budget, giving you the ability to select it. But if it's not a part of the project budget, you won't be able to select from it. So we'll put in our cost code, we'll put in our amount, and right over here, this is where we're going to take an image and upload a copy of the receipt. Now, if your guys have entered this using the mobile app, all of this information will already be there. So if they took a picture of the receipt using the mobile app, it would live right here. And then all we're going to do is save. Saving it is not going to push this over to QuickBooks. If you're ready to push this over to QuickBooks and you're ready to commit this as a cost that's now going to show up on our budget and our job cost statement, then you'll simply select Save and Approve. Right, so now this has been approved. We can select the ellipses icon, select Print. We can see what this looks like. Okay, and I did misspeak, so I apologize. I only approved it. I need to accept it now. So now, as the accountant, I can enter all of my project expenses and then go through and accept them all at once if I'd like. So let's say I want to push this over for this project and this one for this project. I will select both of them. Okay. Then we'll select our gear icon and we're going to select that we want to accept the check expenses. Okay. And again, just like when we create that subcontractor billing, it's going to ask us, well, what date do you want this to generate in QuickBooks as? I'm going to push them all over as today transactions for today and then select yes. Okay. So now those have been pushed over to QuickBooks and they will also hit my budget in just a couple of minutes. Any questions from anyone? Nope. Okay, awesome. All righty. So those are our expenses over here. To show you again, you do have your gear icon. So if we want to filter all of our expenses, if we want to search just by employee, okay, there we go. So I can filter by employee across all jobs. I can select all of the expenses if I'd like, just to show you, you do have a report. So once I've checked them, I can come over here and I can download the check reports. I can also export this to an Excel file. I'll show you what that looks like right now. Right, so here's my expense report just by this one particular employee. Okay, alrighty, so those are expenses. Now it's given enough time, let's go back on over to our job cost statement. So my job cost statement, I'll select commitments, and then we'll go to job cost statement. So the job cost statement is going to have, let me come back over to budget real quick. Same information as the budget pretty much. We're going to have our actuals column over here. Our actuals column is going to show our actual committed costs, any expenses as well. So you can see approved expenses will also show up, but this isn't clickable. You can't actually view, well, what is that $50 consist of? Why is $50 been applied to furnishing? So you'll want to go into your job cost statement to see that information. Now, everything in your job cost statement is clickable. Okay, so we've got here our cost code numbers, the description. Here's our budgeted amount, any approved changes, the projected total cost. So that's the budgeted amount and the approved changes. We also have our total committed cost. Total committed cost is what have we already committed to spending. So I can see $80,000. If I click that here, that $80,000 is for a subcontract agreement. And then that $50 that I was wondering about, I can click right into that $50 and I can see, oh, the $50 is for an expense from Home Depot. I can click into that and actually see the receipt. So your job cost statement is a great report to look at. You do have the ability to filter the report, so we can look at last month's job cost statement versus this month. This is also updating with our owner billing and our subcontractor billing. Okay, so if I come over here just to show you, we can see total cost to date. If I click into total cost to date, that's going to show the 2 pay apps I received from my subcontractor. Okay, so my subcontract value was for 80,000 and they've paid out, or I'm sorry, I've paid out 16,000. Okay. And then as we're entering our owner billing, that information is going to update against here too. So if I were to let's go into a different project. So we can see that I've billed out on here and how much money I have left to bill out. Okay. So we've already gone over our owner billing, our subcontractor billing. We've gone over expenses. So next we can go over our company-wide reports. You're going to get these reports having the accountant permission. So a project manager, if they only have project manager permissions using RedTeam Go, they won't be able to view all of the reports that you can. So to view those reports, we'll navigate over to accounting. Okay. And then from here, we'll go to reports. Okay, so that's going to give us our owner billing report. Do need to let this generate. I do have a lot of owner bills. And then from here, we're going to get our billing report by subcontractor. We can also run our WIP report here. We can do a PO summary, and we can do our project budgets report. Give me 1 sec. I'm going to open up RedTeam over here as well. Okay. Let's go back on over to our reports. Okay, I am letting my owner billing load. Like I said, sometimes it can take a couple of minutes, but while that's loading, we can look at our billing report by sub. Okay, so the billing report by sub right now is limited by selecting the project. So you do need to go through and manually select, well, which projects do I want to run my sub billing report for? So we'll select our projects. Then you can go by period. So I can go as far back as I'd like. Okay. There we go. And then you do have the ability to select all sub-bills. Do we only want to review the accepted, only the approved, or do we want to view all new sub-bills? Okay, so I'm going to select all and print. So I did not select all of my projects. I only selected a few, but here we go. So based on these projects, it shows my subcontractor here. Okay, their original contract value, any changes between this time, what has now become the revised contract value, the earned to date, the retainage withheld, so how much they've billed me, the retainage, their previous billing, current due, percentage complete, balance, and any unbilled change orders. Okay, so I can see right here, I have for the project Singer invoice a change order that I haven't applied to any of their billing yet. So this is my subcontractor billing report. Okay, you also have your WIP report right here. So once this shows up, we are able to run our WIP report by month, by period. We're just going to enter the date. Okay, so I can go from September to now, right? Over here, we're going to select, well, what do we want to generate? Do we want to generate this WIP report for all projects, only active projects, or only inactive projects? Okay, so once we do that, we will select export. RedTeam just needs to generate this. There we go. Okay, so here's my WIP report. Okay, so now if I want to export this into an Excel document, so I can view it a little better. Okay, here are all my columns. Right, I'm going to select export. RedTeam's going to download that for me right now. Go. And I'll show that to you in a second. Okay, so now I've generated my WIP report. You can edit this if you need to. We want to drop some things down. Alrighty. Right, and that's my WIP report right here. Now, another option that you have is the summary report. Okay, so I've selected the summary report, and this gives it to me not in Excel, but I've got this PDF. This is the summary. We've got all of my jobs, the start dates, the contract value, including their change orders, current budgeted costs, what our projected gross profit is. Okay. So that's my WIP report right over here. If I want to refresh, I can select refresh. Well, we can change it to generate to inactive projects if needed. Now you do also have this PO summary report. This is just going to give us a report of all of our purchase orders. Okay, so here you do have the check all POs. So I don't need to scroll down. I'm going to select all of my active projects. Okay, I can select to go by project manager if I don't need all POs. And then we're just going to select print checked POs. Okay, now this says scroll in. Okay, so here's my PO summary report for Morticia's Spa renovation. Here's my other Singer and Boys project. Okay, so all this is doing is it's just listing my purchase order, which this includes my subcontract agreement and change orders. And it's just by project. So now I have one report for every project. Okay. The other report that you do have an option to print is your project budget. So I can go through and select whichever. I can also just go by project manager if I just want to view by project manager. Come over here now and print my project budget. Oh, no, I should be in project budgets and it's showing me the POs. There we go. Okay, I think I see what the problem is there. There we go. Okay. Alrighty, so now I have the budget by project. Okay, so these are reports that you can run prior to project meetings if you'd like. So everyone will have a copy of the project budget for discussion. Okay. So these were company-wide reports that I wanted to show you. Again, these live in your accounting menu. Only those with accountant permissions are going to have access to this. The next area that I wanted to show you, which will be our last, are your project-specific accounting reports. Okay, to navigate to those, you'll select Report. Okay, and this is going to be project-specific. So it's going to bring up the reports for the last project that I was entered into. If you need to change your project, you'll just X out of here and select your project this way. Alrighty, so here are all my reports. Okay, so over here on accounting, I have my budget export, so I can export my budget. I can do a budget report, which is very similar to what we were just viewing. An export, a budget export is going to be our budget in an Excel document. The budget report is just going to be that PDF. We'll let that generate. Right. Now you have a cost item change order log over here. You can also print your job cost statement right from here without going into the job cost statement menu. And then you have your owner budget versus actual cost. Okay, so this is going to show our budget. If you are filling out the forecast, you will have your forecast here. Okay, so these are just some additional reports that you can run at any time without having to reach out to your project manager. Right, and then you have the supervisor's worksheet right here. This is just going to include all of our cost codes, how much it was awarded for, and so on, and who we've subbed this out to. Okay, but right over here, we've got our billing. Okay, so we can print our owner billing by project. It's just going to give us the pay app date, the amount, and so on. You can do your subcontractor billing by cost code. That'll bring us here where we'll enter our dates, select the project, and view your report. I don't have billing for this one yet. And then you can also do your subcontractor billing by subcontractor billing by subcontractor, which these are just bringing us the shortcuts for all reports that are located all throughout. So our budget reports, all of these exports, you can also view these reports by going directly into the menu. So if I were to come to the billing menu, I can view my owner billing report here. Same thing if I were to go into my budget, I can generate that report there. So we've gone over pretty much everything that we had planned. So I will stop here and open this up for any questions. Okay, so if we don't have any questions, I'm going to end this. This webinar will be available for everyone to view at a later date if needed on our website. And yes, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to always reach out to us here at RedTeam Go. You all have a great day.